Bridget's out of town right now. Bridget's in Cali doing her Cali thing. And so we wanted to make sure to...
I don't ever talk about my location, Tariq Johnson.
All right. So Bridget is not in California. But we wanted to make sure to update you. We had 2 calls today with 2 different franchisors. We've had a lot of stuff happen overall in the process. Early in this video, you saw us going to meet with the franchise. This is about a week or so apart from that meeting. In this video, we're going to cover kind of where we are in the process, what our next steps in our due diligence process are, and we're just going to kind of wing it overall. We didn't really plan out any sort of scripting to it, right?
Yeah, but I will say I like where we're at. We're doing a lot of due diligence, and I like Tariq and I have our different strengths that we bring to the table, and it's really great to sit in a meeting together and have him see something from one angle and have me see something from another angle. It's really great. I love it.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, my entire career, I've never had a business partner, never. So, we're married, we're partners in life, and now we have been partners in business, and we're partners in our parenting, everything we do. This is like a really exciting journey for me to step into a new business with Tariq and just, our partnership abilities together. So I think that's what I'm trying to say with how we see things from different angles. And it's a really, really strong way to go into a business.
For sure. All right, guys. So here I totally agree with everything that you said. Guys, this is our style. Bridget's more people-oriented. I'm more task-oriented. I'm like, all right. Enough of all the nice stuff. Let's get down to business. Balance of styles. It's great. All right. So we had our meeting with the franchisor in that last video. Actually, that video is going live on Monday. Today's Friday. I have a separate video going live on Monday, which was talking about how the one franchisor potentially wanted to partner on a corporate location, and it was you and I talking through that in the studio, which we were both like, what? That's kind of complicated. The other video that's going to go live after that, guys, if you haven't checked this out, make sure to go to the YouTube channel and go watch these videos. Actually, I'll probably leave links in the description below. Also, while we're at it, if you have not already, hit the like button below or subscribe to the channel. Do that. You're missing out on this journey. We're going to reveal and share everything with you guys along the way. It's going to be a big deal. Also, if you haven't gone to my website and downloaded my 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days, it's totally free, 28-page ebook. I reveal in detail exactly how we got our juice bar profitable in less than 6 days after investing $300,000. My last commercial, bear with me, and then we're going to get into meat and potatoes of this. Guys, I coach people on this process. I help people go from employee to entrepreneur, people that are tired of working with franchise consultants that haven't done anything with them or helped them, or you've been doing it on your own or trying to do it on your own, and you really want to become an entrepreneur, find a business that suits you, go to tariqjohnson.com/consulting, and I can help you do that. All right, with all that said, thank you for bearing through all of those commercials, guys.
I danced for a minute just in case the audience needed a little, but then I realized, wait, I'm distracting everyone from listening to you, so I better stop dancing.
Oh, thanks, Bridget. Okay. I like when you dance. So I just want to give kind of a recap. We had that meeting with the franchisor. We really talked down the rabbit hole of what kind of joint venturing on a corporate location could look like. The conversation was really high level. I wound up getting a little frustrated in that meeting, which was quite visible to everyone, because I was just like, for me, it's all about the detail, the idea of partnering, whatever. Any idea is great. Hey, we should do this, we should do that. Great. It's all fine and dandy until you start looking at the numbers and the projections. It's all about the details, the contracts, the agreements. That's my style and how I work. So that was a little bit, I don't want to say it was an intense meeting, but I think it was spirited, probably more so on my part than anyone's.
I think it was intense for you. For me, I was kind of stepping back. I have a bird's eye view, big picture. And what I realized, we were sitting in a finance meeting, and then we were sitting in a location meeting. And this company that we're talking to has a really big vision, and they have a lot of things that they're doing that they want to bring to the table. And I think for Tariq and I, it was overwhelming because that wasn't really in our wheelhouse, and it wasn't kind of what we were seeing the process as being. And I just said to him, let's keep an open mind and just keep educating ourselves through the process. And of course, the numbers, the details have to make sense at the end of the day, but let's let them take us on their journey for a little bit, and then we'll come back to our journey.
Yeah, which I agree. It was a fair point. So yeah, it was definitely a fair point. And so with where we're at now is that that's off the table now anyways, which I'm relieved. To me, I'm all about simplicity. We've learned that in our life. Making things complicated usually doesn't serve many people. So as an update of today we had a meeting with, let's call it franchisor A. That meeting with franchisor A, which again is within the childcare space, we did an overview of the FDD, the franchise disclosure document. To be fair, Bridge and I are both super busy. Ideally, before a meeting about an FDD, we would have gone through it in detail and mapped out all of our questions. We didn't do that yet.
Good point. Yep.
So,
experience with FDDs, so we knew what we're looking for.
Overall, but we still need to do that. So that's still part of our, so when I think about our task list.
And Tariq, let's just, here's how I'm going to review this FDD, just so you guys know, and I love contracts. I review a lot of very heavy 20, 30, 40 page contracts for many of my projects. So I will be printing it out, and I will just slowly take maybe an hour, and I will read each line and each sentence and each clause. And if I have a notebook, if I have a question, I will write a question, page this, clause that. What does this mean? What is this expense? I don't understand this language. I will keep a list, and I will then bring that to the FDD meeting so that when they review it with us, I can live, and Tariq does a similar process. So you know how I review an FDD.
Yeah, and you guys can, the way you do it, that's great for telling people, because sometimes people get so caught up in like the how and the small nuances.
Well, and a lot of times people get overwhelmed, Tariq, reading contracts, which is why many people don't want to do them, because it's a lot to look at on a screen. So I learned, print it out, have it in front of you, and just slowly read it. And
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you can skim over. But
cool. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on that. So here's the important part. We had the FDD meeting. We talked about some of the main points as we were going through it. I had already skimmed the FDD. Bridget had skimmed it. So now that we've had that overall meeting and we talked with them, now Bridget and I will go through and do our deeper layer of due diligence on the FDD, create our questions. I'll probably let Bridget take the lead on that, since she enjoys doing the contract stuff. Ironically enough, with me being the detail person, overall, it's not something that I enjoy that much, and Bridget's really good at it. So this is where working with your spouse, like, it's like the things that I'm like, I don't want to do that. Fortunately, Bridget's like, oh, that's a skill set of mine. I enjoy doing that. And we have that to collaborate back and forth with. In that meeting as well, so we discussed the FDD, and then we also discussed what they called was unit economics, which is basically a pro forma. If you're looking into franchises, you're not familiar with what a pro forma is, you need to look into it. You need to become very familiar with it. Pro forma is just estimated projections of what your revenues would be and what your costs would be month by month, based on all sorts of different variables, what your cost of labor is, what the different expenses are, rent, utilities, insurance, everything you can think of. So you can actually have a projection and an estimate of, okay, when we open our business, year one, what might we lose or make? And then as we grow our sales, what does that look like on paper? They're just projections, but they're important so that you can tangibly see what the numbers could or would be.
And
right?
then you can run scenarios and worst case scenarios, best case scenarios, something in the middle around these numbers. It's in an Excel spreadsheet where you can play with the numbers. So that's part of it.
Yeah, great point. Here's my advice to you guys. So we have now the pro forma, and we're gonna now do that ourselves. We will create, like Bridget said, some lower performing case scenarios, middle performing, higher performing, and then year 1, year 2, year 3 scenarios. Here's what I would suggest. A lot of people get overwhelmed in the pro forma process. I remember doing the first pro forma for Robex, our juice and smoothie bar, when we did that, 5 years ago now. Corporate sent it to me. They just sent it to me. And I'm like, what do I do with this? I'm like looking at it. I've never looked at a pro forma before. I was totally confused and quite honestly annoyed that they had just sent me this with zero guidance or direction. And so I remember reaching out to corporate, and here's what will help you if you've never done an FDD. Reach out to the franchisor, see where they can fill in some of the gaps for you. Fortunately, this franchisor that we just talked to, they were able to kind of walk us through some of the points. But this is where you get to, as you're calling, you combine your due diligence of calling existing franchisees within the system, and you can ask them and get an idea of how they're operating their business and what numbers they may be using for cost of labor, for cost of materials, for cost of goods, for rent, and get, as you're doing your due diligence, sync it up, match it up so that you're doing two things at one time. You're asking the questions that you're supposed to ask other franchisees. You can find a whole list of those questions to ask other franchisees on tariqjohnson.com/blog. I have a blog post on exactly what to ask other franchisees, but also match that up so that you can fill out your pro forma. Go ahead, Bridget.
And it varies. These pro formas are really based on demographics of a particular market in a particular state. So Philadelphia might be different from California versus Orlando. Every state has a set of pricing, payroll things, cost of goods. So it's really particular to the demographics of the business and your state and your area. So it's not just one uniform thing for the whole US. And for those people that already own a small business that are thinking about transitioning into the franchise market and the space, this is similar. I look at a lot of net profit sheets, cost of goods in my business. So when I came across the pro forma for the first time with our juice bar, I was comfortable because I've been working in accounting on my small business for 20 years. So it's, and you can also take a further step if you have an advisor that's outside that you trust. They can help you kind of break that down too and look at it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And, for my clients that I work with, definitely something that I help coach and guide them through that process from a unbiased third party, helping them go through that.
And then sometimes, like the one we looked at, there were a couple of red flags for us around some of the costs of things that we both caught, and some smaller little items that we were able to ask a question in this meeting and get some clarification. And then they are going to go back to the table and further clarify, because they were lumping stuff in the categories such as marketing, where it was a significant number where we wanted a breakout of what that looked like to understand the number, because it was bigger than what we've encountered in other pro formas and FDDs. So anyway. Yeah, great point, Bridget. So overall for franchisor A, we reviewed the FDD. We're at that part of the process. We've looked at the pro forma, have not completed it yet. So our next steps that I have are to do a deeper dive into the FDD to complete our pro formas, to discuss the estimate of the potential build out costs, because
We want to understand what that would look like. In this case, we are discussing with the franchisor a specific location initially, although we would be potentially pursuing probably more of a multi-unit approach with franchisor number A. Franchisor number A, overall, they are a fraction of the cost of what some of the bigger box childcare franchises take to get open. So for the cost of what bigger box company might be, we might be able to open 2 or 3 of the other franchise, but we need to figure out what those build out costs look like. Then once we do that, Bridget and I will take a look at, our financial position and just start game planning how we might fund it, what our strategy is, how much of our cash we're going to use. We took a significant amount of money from the sale of one of our franchises and put it in the market and invest in a bunch of stocks. Will we utilize that and really just kind of talk about what our plan is? And it's important to talk about what plan is for number one and how that affects things down the road. And then also I have on our list for us to start calling some of the other franchisees and start going through that process and having those conversations.
Yeah, like I asked Tariq, okay, like let's say we go with franchise letter B, no, letter A.
Franchisor A.
Franchisor A. What's the check we're writing? Let's know what that number kind of looks like so that we can look at our finances and like know what we're going to do around the money. And then I also said to him, okay, we're now getting to the point where it's getting more serious. The information's kind of leading us to make the right decision. What does that look like logistically for us on paper with our
life?
Yeah, like what if it's a 3-month build out, what does that look like for us? Who's running it? Who's there on site? Who's not? We both have other projects we're working on, so I'm sure that we'll talk more about that, but we're starting to get in, this is getting real stage, even though we're still in the big picture.
Yeah, it's a great, really great point is we're like, there's so many at this point in the process especially now that you've already got clear about your vision, where you're going, how much money you want to make, and your skill sets, your passions. And so we're at the point where we've narrowed it down all the way to a specific industry. Because as I mentioned to the franchisor today, Bridget and I are busy. We have multiple businesses. So this is, we're throwing a dart. This is not a shotgun. We're trying to throw a dart and really figure out what business aligns with our lifestyle and our family. Our family is very important to us. Caleb is very important to us. So it's imperative that the business we select is in alignment with our family values. I see too many times people get involved in businesses, totally disrupts their family, or they spend way too much time working and they become miserable. And so you get to, what if you could have fun? What if your business could fit perfectly with your lifestyle and your family and what it is you want to accomplish with your life? It's very important. So
what if you and your partner, your spouse, if you're doing this as a joint venture, could combine your brain power and be a little bit of a power couple and your financial and your actual world life together? So
100%.
One of the problems I have is I can't, sometimes when I'm with Tariq, all I want to do is talk business. And he's like, whoa, we got to just relax. Let's go have a little fun. Let's stop talking about work. I get obsessed where I love it so much that he's got to coach me in turning it off a little bit.
Well, I do too. I mean, here's the thing. Part of that is because my brain's always going. Bridget can sometimes be really good at shutting things off. And she's like, all right, not looking at my phone for a bunch of hours. Me, I'm like constantly in it. So there's just times where like after a long day, I recharge my batteries by being more introverted, disconnecting, being by myself. Bridget's like, boom, let's talk more. And I'm like, all right, my cup is full right now. So.
Oh, and you know what, Tariq? If your audience wants to follow my businesses, it's Bridget Mayer Gallery. And then it's Bridget Mayer _Art MBA. I'm online on Instagram. You can see when I'm referring to what I'm doing, those are the businesses that I'm in right now. That I've had.
Definitely go check her out, guys. Bridget is a rock star for sure. All right, so basically Franchisor B is another childcare franchise, almost like a household name in the space. Almost like, I don't want to say they're recognized as like the gold standard, but a lot of people know who they are.
Cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop for sure. And they've been around a longer time. So we had a call with them. We started talking to them about 2 years ago prior to COVID and started opening this dialogue. So this has been in the motion for a while now. COVID happened and we were like, all right, we were just focusing on what we had going on. But a couple key things. So in that call, basically their process is much more complicated. It would take around about, I'd say 2 years start to finish to get open. I mean, when I asked the question, how long does it take to get open after signing a franchise agreement? He said, our goal is less than 24 months. But there are a couple of items that throw a wrench into that. And so, overall with this other franchisor, we would need to be buying the land, building a building from the ground up, or hiring a developer to do that. It's a much more complicated process, much more time intensive, and much more capital intensive. I mean, we could be in for millions.
Triple.
Yeah, we could be in for a few million.
Triple the investment.
To get that one open. So it's interesting because it's definitely, I think, the more stable choice in a sense, but longer time to get open, much more capital. And what right now part of the conversation is there's not really any easily identifiable opportunities close to our home because of how stringent their real estate selection process is. And for Bridget,
what do you mean by the more stable option? You just said that.
Just because they have a longer track record, they have
they've been in the
a
long time.
They've been in the industry a long time. They have a significant amount of locations that are open for a long period of time. This other franchisor we're talking to does not have as much history to them, as many not even close to the amount of locations open. So it's almost like, if you think about it, we're looking at a growth stock, almost like a company who's like in the beginning of like a Facebook, right? And almost like a ground floor opportunity that is a little bit higher risk, higher reward. And then one of the other franchisor B is more of almost like a blue chip stock, right? It's almost like investing in like a Microsoft after they're already Microsoft, right? Or like a General Electric, or just a blue chip stock that's been around a long time, that you're going to pay a higher price for the stock because that it just has overall that track record and that history of doing business. What do you think of that analogy?
Good. It's a good analogy.
Thanks.
I'm thinking about my stocks. Just joking.
Cool. So that's where we are in the process, guys. It's Friday. I always think of that Rebecca Black song. It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Hopefully I'm gonna have my video editor put a clip of that in. I don't know, actually that might that's gonna cause a copyright strike and mess up my monetization.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm listening to a book right now that I really, really like, called The Art of Impossible. And I wanted to bring this up because it brings up a really good point on educating yourself around different aspects of being in a franchise. Most people don't want to read books, and they don't want to read much these days. And I kind of am an obsessive learner. If there's something I don't know, I want to learn as much about it. And I think Tariq's the same way. And the gentleman who wrote the book, Stephen Kotler, was talking about how if you're, and this ties into Tariq's franchise coaching, if you are able to get in front of information that someone has that they've spent years and years working through, learning through their mistakes, and kind of coming out on the other side of knowledge, you can shortcut years of financial mistakes, life mistakes, business mistakes. So I'm just really glad that the people that are watching this that are really interested are here, and stay the course with us in this learning process of how to learn about the right franchise for you, what the process looks like, what Tariq's process is, so that you can actually put yourself in a power position. I remember probably about 16 years ago when I hired my first business coach. At the time, it wasn't really common in my industry, which is the arts, to have a coach. And I was trying to reach the $1 million financial mark in my life at that point. And I knew that there was a lot that I didn't know what I didn't know. So I'm like, I need a coach. I need someone that's coached people, that has had and helped people get to the $1 million mark. So that's why I invested in my first business coach. And within 1 year, I made my first $1 million. And at that point, I was hooked. I had this coach for 8 years, and I spent close
8 years. Hold on. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. And do you know how much I spent?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I spent $2,500 a month. So that was $30,000 a year on a coach. And over 8 years, that was $240,000. I didn't think about like the first time I swiped my credit card for that $2,500. My heart was beating. I was scared. I'm like, I basically am maxing out this credit card. I didn't have the money I have right now for my business. And, but I knew I needed to do it, and I trusted myself. And I said, you need to do this. What you're going to do is you're going to swipe the card. You're going to get on the first call. You're going to be fully present. You're going to take notes. You're going to be coachable. You're going to write down everything that they tell you to do. You're going to go do it. And I had 10 days to do the work in between calls. And I'm going to tell you that reignited my business, that I started making more money. And the $2,500 a month became a business expense and became something that I didn't even think about, because I knew it was helping me reach the next level. So I'm really glad that the people that are in your audience and learning are here, because this is where you need to be if you want to hit that sweet spot of your money, your life, your quality of life, working for yourself, being your own boss, being coached by Tariq, and being coachable.
Yeah, that's wow. Thanks for sharing that. It's a really great point, and that's a significant amount of money that you invested. And that's why I really, I say the word invest because it's an investment. Warren Buffett says the best investment you can ever make is in yourself.
Sorry, do you know how long each call was? Sorry, I cut you off in the too.
It was 30 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 30-minute calls. Yeah. So it just shows, guys. With a coach, I have a coach that I've been working with now since September. So it's June. So for the last 9 months, I've actually known this guy for 10 years. It took me 10 years to hire him. He's one of the reasons why I'm on this path in terms of growing my brand and helping you guys, and posting these YouTube videos now, and about to hit 4,000, actually just hit over 4,000 subscribers. And it's because of my coach. And sometimes it's just one idea. Like I was stuck for the last month or so, not stuck, but things had happened at the juice bar franchise. I had to get in there, and man, I could have, it would normally, it could have derailed me for 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months. We had a call, and he just reined it in, helped me get back on track, map out a bunch of stuff, and killed it. And so, just having a coach is crucially important, and the ROI is unlimited. The ROI, the return on investment, is unlimited. And by the way, as we wrap this up, it is July 18th as of the recording of this video. On July 1st, my coaching rates are going up by 50%, my one-on-one coaching rate. So now is the time to make the leap. If you're interested, go to tariqjohnson.com/consulting. Guys, this makes all the difference in the world.
It does. You know what I was thinking of? Tariq likes to golf. I tried golfing, but I'm really bad at it. If you are trying to get your ball in a hole and you're off by a milli-inch, or you could be more specific about this, your ball's not going where you want it to go. Golf is a great analogy for this. You got to put your club where you want the ball to go and know exactly where that is. So you can be off and be so close to something. And this is where what I realized, that the coaching was what I needed to show me what I didn't know that I wasn't doing, that I needed to do, so that I could have the end result of the financial success and the freedom that I was looking for. So I don't even blink about any of the learning investments I make anymore. If I feel compelled to do it, I just swipe and I know I'm going to find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bridget just hired a new coach. I work with the coach. We have friends of ours, a couple, and the husband has hired coaches that were as much as $100,000 a year. So anyways, that's enough on coaching. You guys get the point. Keep following the journey. If you like this video, make sure to like it, comment. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Where are you in your franchise journey and process? And make sure to follow us and dance. Guys, we'll look forward to updating you, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.